U2 Joshua Tree. This is what really pushed me over the edge as a fan of U2. Do you remember when this came out? I'm sure you do.
Huge. It's when they become they went into the stratosphere of the public knowledge of fame. U2 did with this album. It was epic. There's no other word for it, to break it down.
Yeah. And rather than, I thought we'd try something a little different today. Rather than go into a newspaper or a magazine, I actually ordered a tour book from the Joshua Tree tour. And it's actually, this thing's, I got it off of eBay, and it's actually super cool. And I thought we'd just take a few minutes to go through this. Now, I saw them on this tour. This was
deeply
This is the first time I saw them in Denver. It was at McNichols Arena. And I actually have my T-shirt right here. Thought I'd share this with you. This is the shirt I bought back in this, because it would have been, this came out on March 9th of 1987.
Yeah.
So I would have seen this in 87. And anyway, it was just so cool. So let's see here. So this is yours. Somewhere on here is Denver. And I guess we don't have to find it, but it's one of those things where I remember.
There it is.
You see it?
Yeah.
McNichols Arena, that's
November
the place.
7th and 8th.
November 7th and 8th of 1987. Anyway, and it was such, seeing Where the Streets Have No Name in person. I tell you what, there are very few concerts where I truly have what I would consider, I don't know if this is the right word, but a religious experience.
Yeah, totally.
Where it's the kind of thing where I feel so overwhelmed by the moment that you just
100%.
So when you know how the song starts out with that kind of the droning keyboards, and then
the
edge.
choir.
So that whole thing starts in the drum,
builds, then hits that wave. Yeah.
Dude, and right as that thing's going on, somewhere in there, Bono just kind of meanders out onto the stage, and it's like he puts his hand up or something like this, dude. And I cannot explain it to you, but it was this rush. I don't even know how to put it into words. This rush of energy that came across 18,000 people. You could feel it.
Yeah.
I've never had an experience like that. I mean, so rarely in a concert do you have something like that happen.
But it's true, though, when you go to those concerts, it feels like a spiritual experience because everyone's on the same page, everyone's experiencing the same thing, and it's elevated you to a higher plane of existence for a little bit, for lack of a better word.
It did, and it just like, you feel that thing, and it's like chills, and it's like, I mean, every emotion just takes over at that moment. And you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it.
I could think of 3 times of concerts I've been to that happened where it's like that, and one of them was U2. And it was just, you're overwhelmed by the sound, the visuals, and everything, where it just pulls you in. What are the other ones you can think of that were like that for you?
That's actually a really good question. I know that I had a really amazing experience at The Cure.
That was one of mine, is The Cure, when they did Plain Song. You know that song? First song of Disintegration. It may be my favorite song of any band of all time. But yeah, same thing where it was just like, I literally, I think I started tearing up. It was just like, it was emotional.
Yeah. You know? Actually, I'm curious, of all the people, you're watching this right now, how many have had an experience like that where you're in a concert and there's just this, whatever this happens, there's this rush of energy. And it's true. You actually, your emotions just kind of take over for a second. You even feel teary-eyed for a second, like, dude, what is going on right now? It's so intense.
And then the third one was the Depeche Mode tour that you saw, when they did In Your Room for some reason.
Oh my gosh,
man. The power of that moment, I had to sit down. Anyway, those are my 3 top.
Dude, when that song kicks in.
Oh yeah. Unbelievable power. And they just layered. Anyway, back to the Joshua Tree. I apologize. I could take you on tangents.
We have to talk about that sometime because Dave Gahan, on that tour, oh my gosh, I'm such a fan of that guy.
Yeah.
So anyway, and I remember that song also, I had another weird experience with that same song once, driving down the freeway in my friend's 1965 Ford Mustang, blue. And the album had just come out. He'd thrown it in, I don't know if he had a cassette tape or if it was a CD that he'd put in his thing. And we put that thing on. And I remember we had the window down, and then the thing starts. And I remember, same thing. I was on I-25. We were just coming onto off of Arapahoe Road onto I-25. I remember the whole thing, man.
That's so awesome.
And it was like, and all of a sudden you start hearing that music, and it's the same thing. Like, what is with this song?
Yeah.
It was so great. The song was so unbelievable. And so this album like I said, it pushed me over the edge. I was already a fan. You know, I liked their stuff. You know, I was kind of a metal kid. Everybody knows that watches this channel. That's what I was really, really into more than anything else back then. But I discovered some of these bands, and U2 was one of them, where there was something about the guys, the energy, the music, the whole thing. And I really fell in love with them with Unforgettable Fire. But then when this came out, I remember when I bought, this was one of the first, I was buying records, even though every once in a while I'd buy a CD, I was mostly buying records. I bought this on CD. This is not, I had to buy this on vinyl a few months ago because I just didn't have the vinyl. And I thought I need to have this since we do the show and everything. And I bought that thing on CD, and it was one of those things that it solidified me. And by the way, I don't know how many people have noticed this. You're familiar with Unforgettable Fire, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like one of the greatest
U2 song on there.
That may be over time my favorite thing that they've ever put out. But one thing I noticed about it that was pretty interesting when this came on, because I had really gotten into the Unforgettable Fire. Well, the very last song on that album is a song called MLK. And as you recall, it's just it's like a droning synthesizer. Sleep, sleep tonight. And he just sings that. And then it's that synthesizer, and then it just kind of fades out. And then the song's over. And this song fades in.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I doubt that there was any intention and anything like that. But it was such an interesting thing that he ended the previous album with a song that is about a specific person that really had the ideology of the streets have no name.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it fades out, and the next album comes in with, I want to run, I want to hide, I want to tear down the walls where the streets have no name.
Yeah.
And I thought, and again, I doubt that was on purpose. But there was something, I remember that whole thing, like, dude, we ended the album, we start the next one with a kind of a similar theme.
Yeah, they're very much, I mean, I think, and plus you had the same production team. You have Daniel Lanois, you had Brian Eno, you had Flood. This engineering team is, so I would imagine there was some intent in that. Maybe. But at the same time, they're also, this is an album that was influenced by the tour, the Unforgettable Fire tour, and their experience being around America and how that all came in. And so I can totally see how they're just perfect bookends for each other. The one album to the next.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought this would be kind of fun to, of course, the artwork was so spectacular, the photography that they did for this album. I remember just seeing this stuff for the first time, just going, I don't know what this is.
Anton Corbijn,
this is just so cool. So when I was thinking about the show, and I thought, I want to go see what kind of, because I've ordered some tour books that we've gone through on the show before, and I thought, I wonder what a Joshua Tree one would be like. And I thought, I ordered this thing, and I thought, you got to be kidding me. It's great. So I thought this would be kind of fun to flip through this and kind of take a look at what they had made as part of this. I'm going to move this out of the way. What they had made as part of this tour. Can you read that?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can't
really love that phrase, a conspiracy of hope. I really hope it could be applied to U2 and its organization. It's whatever you can do. It's whatever you do if you can just do it with a bit of dignity.
Interesting.
From Bono.
Okay. And then all these pictures, we have this interesting theme that goes along. Well, what's his name? What's the name?
Anton Corbijn. And he's a Dutch photographer. Originally started out following, he was the original photographer for Joy Division back in late 70s, early 80s. And so, which is kind of cool because U2 was in the studio at the same time Joy Division was recording their last album. 16-year-old U2 were in the studio and heavily influenced by Joy Division, so it kind of makes this full circle.
16-year-old U2, you talking about pre-Boy era?
Yeah. When they were recording, and they were into Joy Division, and even when Ian Curtis, lead singer of Joy Division, died, Bono apparently went to Tony Wilson, who was the guy that was the manager for Joy Division and kind of the record company there, and said, I'll take the mantle for Ian Curtis because he can't do it anymore, that type of thing. So it's kind of cool that there's a tie-in with Anton Corbijn, who was the photographer for Joy Division, and for so many others, David Bowie, Depeche Mode, R.E.M., He's Bob Dylan. He's taking photos of everyone, classic, and he's also done movies that have won the Palme d'Or in Cannes and everything. So he's super talented. And every shot you see of his on his videos or in his movies, everything looks like it could be a still frame shot. It's always perfectly balanced, and You'll see as we go through.
Yeah, I think I mean, some of these pictures are they're just amazing. And so, and Bono was, I don't know, he was freshly out of his mullet phase.
yeah.
And
the Live Aid mullet phase.
Yeah, dude. And when he got into this phase and he kind of had the one length, I don't know, man. They looked as cool as they could have ever looked in this stuff. There was something about them that was just so amazing. And and you know what's cool about some of these pictures, just this one, for example, the blurriness, the focus is
Corbijn
deeper.
always does that. So like if you look at a lot of the stuff, he'll have like the background person being the focus or the background here, but this is all blurry, but just enough to be able to differentiate. You've ever seen the Nirvana video for Heart Shaped Box?
I don't know.
Kind of similar thing, but that was Anton Corbijn did that music video. It's the same kind of thing where it's blurred up front, and there's a lot of focus in the background, which is cool. I don't know. It's a style that he has. It's uniquely him.
So let's see what this one says. It says, I think a certain amount of the naivete that was present in our earlier work is more in perspective. I think it's still there. I think it's essentially U2, but I think the maturing process is taking place. But at the same time, that maturity has given us a self-confidence in what we are, which is a noisy rock and roll band. And there's no way that's going to change. And that's Adam that says that. Now, look.
I don't think I'd ever think noisy with this album.
No, I would. Well, here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
And this gets back to something that we talked a little bit about before we started, and that was the song Bullet the Blue Sky. That was when I really started looking at I looked at him a little differently after that song, because that just rips.
Yeah.
You know, when that thing starts out,
aggressive.
you've got that snare that almost sounds like the snares are not engaged.
Yeah.
Because it has that kind
almost
of almost
gunshot quality to it.
It's very interesting. But there was something, Riel was talking a little bit about some of the stuff related to that song, and you know a little bit about this.
Oh yeah, because that was the one that he was influenced by, because he was, right during the recording of this and right prior to it, Bono had got really involved in a lot of humanitarian efforts and Amnesty International and things like that, and he had been down to El Salvador where during the 80s, as people may or may not know, America was funneling funds to help the Contras and different groups like that, the rebel groups down there, and he saw the impact that external money had on the actual populace there, not the soldiers, but the innocent people, and that really heavily influenced a lot of what went on this album, but particularly Bullet the Blue Sky.
So, okay, yes, thank you. And that's when he says that there, the first thing that comes to mind for me is that one, because when you hear the drum beat comes in, and then you hear him kind of strum across, and you hear that like noise.
That
so
feedback
great
and layered. Yeah.
And I remember I heard this song, the first time I heard it, I still remember the first time I heard that. I was in my bedroom. It's crazy. I mean, listening to these songs, I remember these things. And that song comes on, and I'm listening, like going, what in the world am I hearing? Yeah. And then, by the time they get to the end of it, when he starts talking, oh my gosh, it's so good. But when I read this earlier, the thing that got me was he was talking about the maturing. Now, one of the things that's so fascinating about U2, and especially when I look at this album, there's so many bands that they put out their first album, sometimes a second album, and they're hitting their peak then. And then it's all downhill after that.
Yeah.
These guys are one of those groups where I look back at Boy. Now, I know people are going to argue with me about that, but I look back at Boy, and to me, that is okay.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound mature like this.
It's very post-punk.
Yes.
Very succinct 4-minute ditties,
Right.
Yeah.
And when you go from Boy to October to War to Unforgettable Fire to this, the word
There's
maturing, yes. It's not just changing style, morphing, It feels like these guys are growing into this incredible musical unit.
Another
somehow.
thing with U2 that you can always count on is they've never been one to rest on their laurels. They're constantly challenging themselves, whether for better or worse. There's sometimes where it doesn't quite hit as well, like maybe the pop album, but other times when they're challenging themselves to try to develop a sound that gives them something new to do on top of challenging the fans, but not in such a way. Because you have to remember that line that bands have to walk, where you have to create something new that challenges your fan base, but isn't so far away from the stuff you previously did that you alienate.
That they walk away from you.
And they've been able to master it for the most part.
Yeah, we actually have talked a lot about that on this channel because there's been so many examples of people that have failed at that.
Yeah, reinvent themselves. You're like, why?
Some that have failed, some that have succeeded. Mm-hmm. And these guys are a band that just, for whatever reason, they managed to not just change, but it was maturing. Mm-hmm. They just got better and better at their craft. Okay, here we go. The desert was immensely inspirational to us as a mental image for this record. Most people would take and by the way, that was interesting to me too, because having been so engrossed with the Unforgettable Fire like I was, and not just the album, but I bought a videotape, that had that had the music videos on it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I had them in high school or if I got them much later, but I remember seeing them because you see them do bad, especially at Live Aid. And they did have this, I don't know, this very, what would be the word? European pop, I don't know.
Eurocentric vibe.
Yes. And then when this came out, it was this the look, the whole thing. Again, this whole desert thing was like, where is this coming from?
Yeah.
I mean, I dug it, but it was a really, really different thing. So let's see here. So the desert was immensely inspirational for us as a mental image for this record. Most people would take the desert on face value and still think it's some kind of barren place. But I think the right frame of mind, it's also a very positive image because you can actually do something with a blank canvas, which is effectively what the desert is.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so we talked about there, and one of the facts that she'd come up with was that it was originally called The Two Americas was the working title for the album. And then they get to the very last, period where they're getting ready to record and they're taking photos for the publicity stuff, and they come across the single Joshua Tree out in the Mojave Desert. And Bono hears the story about, so the Joshua Tree got this name from Mormon pioneers that saw that it looked like the prophet Joshua praying or something like that. And he's like, there it is. That's it. That encapsulates the album themes of spirituality in America. And
that's where the name ultimately came from. Oh, interesting. More really, look at this is because we actually live in this kind of place.
Yeah, you can go see Joshua Tree just 30 minutes down the road.
And this is the Southwest of the United States. This is what it looks like when you start heading down into Arizona and Nevada and here in southern Utah. Yep. You see this kind of thing. What does this one say?
It says, if you drive through some European cities now late at night, city centers that were once thriving, vibrant places are now shut down and closed. A lot of people just don't have the money to go out anymore, so some of our own cities are becoming ghost towns.
This is 1987.
Yeah, this is pre, fall of the Berlin Wall. This is...
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Year before that, even.
Wow. Just, again, another... And by the way, I also love... Not only do I love the pictures, but I love...
The space.
This. I've bought a lot of a lot of these tour books just to do them on this channel. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Like this, people actually took time, thought this through.
And when you get an Anton Corbijn tour book, because he's done for other bands too, it looks like an art book.
Yeah.
It's so well framed.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Great pictures. Look at these
classic Corbijn. Yeah,
this is great, man. This is so cool. What does this one say?
It says, U2 is the common thread to everything we've done. There's still the same commitment to each other, to 4 people, 4 guys in the band. That's
actually a pretty interesting thing, too. Because one of the other things we talk about on this channel a lot is just the constant... I mean, there was one I was reading... I think it was the one I was doing on Tesla where I was listening to one of the interviews from one of the guys, and he says, hey, we still have 3 of the guys in the band from the original. I'm like, that's really funny. Because that's remarkable after all this time.
They've mastered the band dynamic U2 has, because you don't really feel like it's not like Lennon McCartney and the other 2, or Hook and Sumner and the other 2. It's literally they all seem to have an intricate part that they realize and kind of support each other through.
There is, that's a good point. And it's the original band that mastered that was the Beatles, because you had your favorite Beatle. They were all.
But even
important.
then, you know, they didn't always give credit to Harrison for his
that's
songwriting
true.
ability, or
The credit.
McCartney would go and re-record Ringo's drums or something. You know,
but these guys, there was you knew the four. The four were part of the whole.
Yeah. You wouldn't be surprised, you know, given the Beatles reference, they all lived in the same house or something. You know, that type
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. That's right. Exactly. That's exactly right. What does this one say?
See, the desert pictures we felt were in many ways a link to the barren dereliction of the castle of the Unforgettable Fire. It's rich in imagery, but it's a different landscape, a different location, which we thought was appropriate for this record.
Yeah.
So there you go. So there was a conscious effort to connect it with the previous album.
Yeah, and the image on the cover of Unforgettable Fire, that castle is.
Yeah.
Again, it's
and you
such
can see,
great.
like with pictures like this, you see like bands like the Killers that use the same, because they also worked with Anton, that same type of vibe for Sam's Town and some of those albums.
Wow, I love these photos. They're so great.
It's funny because it's like, I think we drove past this on the way home.
No,
it's like,
no kidding.
It feels like.
Seriously, just start driving out towards Lake Powell. This is, you see this stuff. Yeah, this is so. What does this one say?
So this is Adam Clayton. He says, I hope we learn a lot on this tour. I hope we learn the weaknesses and the strengths of what we've done to enable us to stretch ourselves even more the next time around.
Wow.
So you have to think, when they were making this is before the album gets released. They're anticipating this tour. This was the tour and the album that really took them from a big band to a global phenomenon.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
true.
So you got to think they achieved that goal and then some about growing on a tour.
Yeah, no kidding. It's amazing because each album they put out, they just got bigger.
And they kept reinventing themselves. And that was the thing at the end of this tour. That was the thing, is people thought that maybe they had broke up because Bono said, we're going to have to go away now and reinvent this all again at the end of '89 when they were done during this period. And then disappeared for a little bit and came back with Achtung Baby, which is almost a completely different band.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You know?
And by the way, I loved it.
Oh yeah, Achtung's phenomenal. Flood again.
Okay, this one says, I think the maturing process that started with the Unforgettable Fire has in a sense been completed with the Joshua Tree. Interesting. And this is, even with the snow, this is so southwest.
I mean, everything looks like it has something you'd have on a t-shirt.
Yeah, by the way, those of you, because we have people that watch this thing from all over the world, this channel. If you're ever in southern Utah, northern Arizona, Nevada, this is what it's like here. You drive an hour outside of the city, and you're going to see this kind of stuff. This
Sadly,
is what
you
it's
probably
like.
won't run into Bono though.
Probably won't run into,
but they're not hanging out in the desert anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe in Osmond.
That could be. I've actually run into.
Oh, I'm sure you have.
Okay, what does this one say?
This one says, having gone through the other albums in our formative years, in a sense now I think we've got a very good grasp on the power and potential of music and where we can take it.
Wow. Yeah.
And they did.
Understatement. Wow, these are so great. Yeah, I mean, you go out to someplace like Snow Canyon and you'll see like rock formations like this that you can walk all over and all the, just the
derelict buildings and things in the background.
God, I love this stuff. This is so great. Great pictures again. What does this one say?
Anton Corbijn, our photographer, really is a very funny man, but his photographs are very serious, which is in a way quite like us, because people think that we're very serious because we take our music seriously.
You know, and they probably, I think a lot of people see them as a little bit
pretentious.
That's the word.
Yeah,
they do, and but you know what, man?
Bono openly admits it too. Like, he always talks about how the other members of the band often want him to shut up, but he doesn't. Particularly when you go into this political stuff
But it's part of the charm of the band. The pretentiousness of it.
Yeah.
When you look at the pictures of them staring in different directions and everything, it's so dramatic and it's so cool, though.
He embraced it fully on the like we were talking about, the Achtung Baby tour, the Zoo TV tour, where he embraced the pretentious rock star that would, call leaders of the world during the middle of the concert, and he would put them on the phone over the speakers and just kind of this over the top bravado, you know.
It's like, it's perfect. Seriously, part of, when I'm looking through this thing, I picture myself being at a concert, and you buy this thing, and you're just sitting waiting for the opening band, or in between.
Oh yeah,
I would have been. You would just sit here and just pour over. I would have loved this. I really would have loved this. Look at it here. This one is when you're starting to get into like this session right here.
And that's where they got the lone Joshua tree in the middle of the whole desert that they found.
Yeah, you can see even the clothes are the same. Looks like he must have had a jacket on at one point. We decided on the instinct almost that it was the right image for the record, but the intellectual reasons I haven't quite sorted out in my own mind. It has a spiritual aspect, which this record has, and also has a great deal of mystery, which I like. It's appropriate on many levels. That's the edge.
Moving into a cityscape there.
Yeah, a little bit.
And that one just looks like almost like an accident.
Yeah.
You're like, somebody pressed the lens
let's put it in. And by the way, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Was filmed in Las Vegas, wasn't it? Yeah. The music video. So this was, I mean, they really were capturing
the America of that time.
That in this particular area, the Southwest United States.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
And where the streets have no name. Remember that was filmed on? Remember they did that live concert on top of that building in L.A. I think.
Yeah, that was so great. Yeah. That was so cool. The music video that came out of that thing was so amazing.
Yeah,
because they were. Everything. Yeah, we're shutting it down or something. I can't remember what he said. So great! It was so awesome.
The only thing I remember is on the end of the still haven't found what I'm looking for a video where everyone's getting into limos except for Adam Clayton, and he's just getting into a taxi with a beer, and that's and then he ends. I'm like, that's fitting. That's Adam.
That's right, because they're kind of like walking around the streets, and he's like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's so funny.
Some live. Yeah, I'm guessing these are probably Unforgettable Fire tour then.
I guess they must have been. Huh. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know for sure because it could have been that they were staged too.
Yeah. Did you saw Rattle and Hum, right?
Was the million years ago.
Yeah, but the movie about this.
But that was all this tour.
Yeah. Just remember the one with Bono holding the spotlight.
The spotlight. Yeah. Because that's on the cover of the album.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's really cool. We'll have to come back sometime and take a look at these.
Go over the songs.
So
much cool stuff. Dude, you
got
to live an iconic moment. There are people who envy you, myself included. They got to see this tour.
Yeah. Yeah, it was something. And I was I wasn't fresh fan. I'd been into him for a little while. It was just that this is really like, oh my gosh, I love these guys.
Do you remember who the opening band was even?
No.
I don't either. Yeah, I used to know those things.
Don't remember. So this is early days right here. There he's playing, looks like a Gibson Explorer. Man, they were so young. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy. What's this? Yeah, then, okay. Still like really, really young stuff. So here's the albums, Boy, October War. We've talked about this stuff. Wow. And then we've actually done a video about this on this channel. Did you know about the lawsuit and the different lengths of this album?
You mentioned it, but I hadn't heard it a lot.
If you're curious about this, on this channel, we have a video about Under Blood Red Sky and why one song is a few seconds shorter on one. They put out different versions of this album, but you would never know. One of them is shorter than the other one, and you don't know which one. You have to actually know which one you have.
Due to a lawsuit.
Due to a lawsuit, because he's saying, send in the clowns. They had to actually remove that in all the future pressings. I have both pressings. So
which tour were you asking about the opener for?
Joshua Tree.
So they had a ton of them, but the main one it looks like was Lung Justice.
I don't remember that.
No, I don't even remember. No.
Other openers include The Pretenders, Big Audio Dynamite, B40,
Whoa.
Little Steven, Stevie Ray Vaughan,
Ooh.
The Waterboys, Hurrah, Primus.
Primus?
I would have.
Primus?
There's a bunch of those. I would. That would be something, man. Especially back
wow.
then.
B.B. King was the opening act for both final shows.
Yeah, that was like the Love
cool
Comes to
this
Town
is,
tour
man.
stuff.
This is so great. Obviously, within any show, there was space for improvisation, but there was a certain level that we always worked to. Wouldn't tamper with it too much. Maybe we're feeling now like we'd be a little less precious about it. Maybe we'd like to try to throw the whole thing into a state of flux where every show is going to be different. Some nights I think it'll pay dividends and it'll be magic. Some nights it may not. but I think it will create a much more dangerous stage presence. That's interesting. Because not a lot of bands do that.
No.
Where they have different things. You know who does that? Or used to do that? Soundgarden.
Oh, yeah?
I think every night was different. Different set, different things. So anyway, what a great picture. Anyway, this is really cool to see this. Oh yeah, look at that on the back. Another great picture. Dude, these are so cool. The imagery from this album was so great. I just love this stuff. Anyway, I just thought this would be cool to just take a look at this book and talk a little bit about. We're going to do more videos about. I mean, how do you do one video about the Joshua Tree? But I thought this would be just kind of a fun thing to take a look through and see some of the photography. Those of you that remember this album and the imagery that was associated with it, so we thought we'd get a kick out of that. Hey, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Please like the video. Comment down below. Do you remember this stuff? Did you see them on this tour? Did you see them on any tours, especially the ones before this? And what did you think about this whole idea of growth? And Roger, thank you again for being here with us today. Riel, thank you for doing the preparation. She's doing some producing over on the side along with Henrik. Henrik, thank you for being here as well. And we also want to thank Digitech for their ongoing support of the channel. If you're a guitar player, go to digitech.com. Check out all the latest gear and technology. And with that, have yourself a fantastic day.